And that's why I think it's in Titus where it talks about that we are just pilgrims passing through. We are, foreigners,
Strangers in a
strange land.
They didn't consider themselves to be citizens of this world.
Yeah.
It's like, we said this before, but it's like if Germany passes this like 50% tax on your wages, even after you paid the original tax. None of us are going to care because we're not citizens of Germany.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? And so those Old Testament guys, they knew they were strangers in a strange land. Not that they wouldn't inherit the earth. There's a difference between the earth and this world. The earth and this world are not the same thing. We're not going to inherit this world. We're going to inherit the earth. But the earth that we're going to inherit ain't this world. And it don't look like this world. Right? And so they knew they weren't citizens of this land. So even should they die a death in this land, this isn't the land they're citizens of. The death that's in this land can't hold them down because they're not citizens here. Just like the tax that's in Germany can't hold us down because we're not citizens there. But this thing with the football player, that's not something new.
No.
That come from the beginning with Adam.
Yep.
Right? And it was
Exactly.
a big thing with the Jewish people. And we miss this with what Jesus taught. But if you notice with John, in John chapter 8, when they threw the woman caught in adultery in front of Jesus, the Pharisees were of the mind that God was the one that brought the death. That God condemned with death.
Right.
That God's will was for this woman to die because they misinterpreted the scriptures. They didn't know the scriptures. Right? And so they threw the woman caught in adultery, basically saying God's will is for this woman to die. God's the one that brings her death. God's the one that orders her death. He wants her to die. And Jesus is like, I am God. And watch what he does. Look what he does. But he doesn't just stop there. If you go into John chapter 9, what does he do then? He finds the blind person. And what do they say? Who sinned that this person is blind?
Exactly.
Their parents or them? And he's thinking, them? They were born blind. I mean, what sin did they commit? But then he says, neither. What he's basically saying there when he says neither is that ain't got nothing to do with it. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to heal this guy so that you can see that God isn't the thief that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's why in the very next chapter, he goes into, it's the thief that comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I am come that you might have life. He's saying, I'm God, and you guys think every time you experience death or calamity in the world, that God's the one that brought it to you. Right. God's the one that ordered it on you because of your sin, but God is not the punisher of sin. God is the healer of sin. God is not the one that condemns for sin. He's the one who justifies you from sin. He vindicates you. He doesn't condemn you. He heals you. He doesn't punish you. And so Jesus comes and says it's the thief that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And the way he steals and kills and destroys from you is he sets a way in front of you that is unto life, that isn't unto life at all, but it's unto death.
Right.
And then that way punishes you with death. And that's why he goes into it's the thief that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But I, who is he when he says but I? He's talking as God.
Right.
He ain't talking as the Son of Man right there. But I, God, come to give you life.
Yes.
What is, I come to heal you. I come to save you. I come to justify you. I come to vindicate you. I come to make your eyes open. I come to make your heart see. I come to heal you from your body of death. Right? That's like one of the biggest ailments of human.
Yeah.
Is that when you're in a world full of death, and that death reaches out and touches you, man, you think God's the thief that comes to steal,
That's
kill,
right.
and destroy. You know what'll happen? The serpent knows that. If you think God's the one that steals from you, that kills you, and that destroys you because of your sin, guess what you're never going to do? You ain't never going to run to God.
Right.
You're going to run to your own works all the time. That's the other way unto life that the serpent taught you.
Even if you don't think that God is killing you because of your sin, you so often people say, well, they found out they have cancer. If this is the way God chooses to take me out of this world, and it's His will for my life, and they might not even associate it with any sin, but they just say, well, God has chosen to take me out of this life this way, and I will accept His will. I know someone who's going through that right now, and that's exactly what she said.
Yeah. She's trying to bring herself peace. If you don't understand, your heart won't be comfortable not understanding unless you really know God. Because then you will understand. You may not understand the details of this, but in knowing God, you'll go to rest. You'll understand. I'm one with God. I mean, if you can understand what I'm saying, that is understanding in every situation. But if you don't understand, if you don't really know God, what'll happen is your heart won't be able to go to rest in situations like that.
Right.
Your heart will begin trying to make sense out of it, right? And then you're going to come up with it, whatever kind of a thing you think you can come up with that will make you peace, that will give you peace. That's how great error comes. Error is born from confusion, right? And in the place of confusion, almost nobody can just sit there and know God, right? They sit there and they try to make sense out of their own confusion. And then they come with even more confusion. Confusion upon confusion. But Jesus revealed that God's not the thief that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Do you know how Jesus took us out of this world, if we want to use that language? We're all still here, right? You realize he took me out of this world.
Right.
You know how he took me out of this world? He took the substance of my life and he removed it from being held by this world and he hid it in himself.
Nice.
Right? And so the life I have, even though it's walking in this world, it's not of this world. So man, I left this world a long time ago. In reality, if we want to talk about God taking us from this world, do you see what I'm saying? God doesn't come and bring death. God doesn't arbitrarily decide it's their time, it's their... No, man. That is baloney.
Yes.
That is the vain imaginations of human beings that have no understanding. That's what that is, right?
That's like people who say, death is just, the circle of life, and people born and little babies, and then you go through your life and you die. It's actually wonderful. Death is wonderful. But at the very end of the Bible, it says that the last thing that is going to be destroyed, the last enemy of God, is death.
Yep.
So death is not good.
Nope.
Death is bad. It came into into this world, and God is going to destroy that thing.
Yep.
So no, death is not good. You're thinking incorrectly. But
That's right.
what? We have eternal life. That is what overcomes death.
Right. And every good and perfect gift comes from above, from the Father of lights.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So death doesn't come from God. But Maurice is right, and that just solidifies the point. People who don't know God, the way they'll try to bring themselves death from the death that's in the world is they'll try to create some new age fantasy that death is your friend. That death is good. That death is your best pal.
Yeah.
I'm like, the one guy I talked to, man, I got a lot of friends like this, and I enjoy talking with them. But the one guy was telling me that death gives birth to life. That was how he tried to bring himself peace from life. I said, so are you saying that death gave birth to God? I said, so death gave birth to God. I said, so God, in whom there is no shadow of turning, there is no darkness, there's only light and life. You're saying that death gave birth to him because he is life. I said, I think you're confusing what you see with the sign and wonder that life swallows death.
Yes.
Right? That even though death found a way to enter this world, the life that has been from the beginning swallows that death. Right? And like Marie so beautifully pointed out, death is the last enemy.
Yes.
It doesn't say death is your friend. Death is the last enemy. You don't actually need to die to have life. I mean, in the end, some are going to be alive still when Jesus comes back. They won't have died.
And death isn't the reality.
And they'll still have eternal life.
Yeah,
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
They didn't have to die to get it.
No.
And death isn't eternal. That's the thing. We think about it. It's like God is eternal. God is from the beginning. When God was the Father, Son, and the Spirit, before he created all creation, before he created angels, before death had even come about, he was.
Yeah.
And that's what. So when we're raised and when Jesus returns, death is going to be completely swallowed up.
Yeah.
It's not going to cease to exist. If it wasn't from the beginning, how is it going to be eternal?
Right.
Yeah. And if it's not connected, if it's not born from that which is from the beginning,
Yeah.
how is it going to be eternal? And it's going to look like what Glenn so beautifully brought up about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. God is a consuming fire, it says. That fire isn't a bad thing. It's like I talk about the sun, when you sit in the sun, it feels nice on your skin. You ever notice that? Where it's like, oh, that's nice. Where you're not really sweating, but you're just kind of laying there. That's how it's going to be for those who know God. But for death, that fire is going to consume it. It's going to turn into ashes. It's going to turn death into ashes, right? It's going to make it no more.
Yeah.
And when he appears, it's almost like what you said with the Egyptian. They're still, when people who don't know Christ or are not in Christ and haven't believed on that, it's like they're not going to be like, oh my word, this is amazing, wow, kind of deal. It's going to be the stubbornness of their heart and the emptiness of their heart and still refuse to accept the truth.
They'll be filled with fear and
They'll be
shame.
filled with shame.
Like John talked
Yeah.
about being confused. They'll be confounded, he said. They'll see themselves and they see they're not clothed in the
Yeah.
fire. They'll see themselves as naked, just like the first Adam. And then they're going to experience the same thing the first Adam experienced.
All the way.
That's why it's called the second death.
Yeah.
There's the death that entered the world in the beginning, and then there's the second death. And that's when death is going to die. But everybody who's joined themselves to that which brings death and rejected the free gift of life, they're going to experience the same kind of thing that we see in Genesis with Adam. Where they see they're naked, they're filled with fear and shame at the thought of being in the presence of God. And then when God comes to embrace them, which is the only way you're saved from the destruction of death, is for the Spirit to reveal to you that you look the same as God. And then because you see yourself in the face of God, you cry out, Daddy, which is what Romans 8 says. Those people are going to run into God's arms, and they're going to experience eternal life. And the other people are going to cower away from God in fear unto destruction.
It's almost like a picture of Sodom and Gomorrah. Isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly
Yes,
it.
except right.
It's the right picture of that. It's those who look and they're like, salvation comes, and then those who look behind, it's like cower away. They're just going to be,
Well,
yeah.